Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Learning Decoded, where learning is made simpler and easier for you. Have you ever chosen a research topic and then got stuck on the methodology section? Or maybe you thought methodology is something about finding a similar article and trying to copy paste or rephrase whatever is written there. Or maybe you just understood your topic, you have read articles, and maybe you have even written your literature review. But then your supervisor asks, "Why did you choose this methodology?" And suddenly you're unsure whether your study should be qualitative, quantitative, and mixed methods. The truth is that many students choose methodology based on what seems easier rather than what actually fits their research question. Or maybe they just choose it based on I want rather than what should be. In this video, I will show you a simple framework that will help you confidently choose the right research methodology for your thesis, dissertation, research proposal, or your coursework. One of the biggest misconceptions is that research methodology comes first and then comes your research question. But that's different. Your research questions come first and methodology comes later. So your methodology should be coming from your research questions. Think of methodology as choosing the best vehicle for your journey. If you need to cross an ocean, you will definitely need a boat. Or maybe traveling a highway, you will need a car. So research works exactly the same way. And research methodology is your overall strategy and reasoning behind how you will answer your research question. It explains why you selected a particular approach. The approaches that we will cover a little later in the video that comes in different methodologies. So your methodology chapter answers why you chose or selected that, why it is appropriate. So multiple whys. Why you selected, why it is appropriate, how how the knowledge will be generated. That's very important. And then the most important, it answers why am I doing the study in this way? I will try to explain the different concepts that we know that you might already know. You must have heard about research methodology that we just talked about. You might have also heard about research design, research methods, research paradigm. And if you already don't know what each of these are, or if you don't know if they're different or similar, then you're watching the right video. And I will try to simplify all these and try to make sense for you for your research. So I will try to explain it through this paradigm. Now, if you look at this paradigm, I would call it a research paradigm because this simplifies these concepts for me, and I will try to help you out in the same way. So it's like the first level of your paradigm when you start doing your research, the first level is this one. So here you try to identify the research problem that you want to work on. And this level answers what do you want to know. So what thing or what topic or what research problem you want to work on. This is the first step, and you have to do this before doing anything else related to your research. After you're done about the decision of research problem, we are not going to dig deeper into it, how to do that. I can make separate video for this one. But today's focus is how each step is going ahead and what are the concepts, what is covered in research methodology, and what are the differences of these concepts that I just will try to highlight through this paradigm. All right, so first step, once you have your research problem in your hand, the level 2 is research paradigm. I think this is very important, and I will make a separate video for this one because this actually sets the foundation for the rest of the steps. All right. So once you reach level 2 where you answer how do you believe knowledge is discovered, and then level 3 is your methodology, which we are focusing on in this video. And this is your overall strategy. It's like you have to decide either you want to go for qualitative, quantitative, or mixed methods. So once you have decided which one you want to go ahead with, then you start making your blueprint. Blueprint is kind of, if you understand architecture, it's kind of that structure of your building on the paper. So it's the structure of your research on the paper. This blueprint is your research design, which is your map, your design. Finally, you decide how will you measure or how will you achieve those goals, and what tools you will use. So these tools are basically your research methods. Somehow you could have got the idea that methodology and methods, which are usually confused, and many students think that research methodology and research methods are the same thing, but they are not in real. And you can, here in the paradigm, you can clearly compare, methodology is the overall strategy, which can be qualitative, can be quantitative, or can be mixed methods. And these tools are the different ways of measuring or gathering your knowledge. So it can be a questionnaire, it can be interview, it can be a survey, or any form or way of gathering your knowledge for answering your research questions or for understanding your research problem. All right, so this paradigm is really useful and really helpful, and I hope this clarifies from where you actually need to begin when you starting your research and what are the things that you need to understand. Again, I'm highlighting once more that I'm soon gonna upload video on research paradigm, and this is really very significant to understand because this sets your foundation for the rest of the steps of your research. All right, to go a little more deeper about the difference between methods and methodology. So if you see here, methodology is how will I approach the entire study, whether I'm going to approach it in quantitative ways, so quantitative, qualitative, or mixed method. Like if you want to choose to play with the numbers, then you are gonna go for quantitative. If you want to go deeper and understand the beliefs and perspectives, then you are gonna choose qualitative. Again, this decision is based on the paradigm, your belief about how do you believe knowledge is discovered. So this paradigm will help you to choose a direction for yourself, choose a strategy for yourself for your research. Methods are different tools. For instance, it can be a questionnaire, it can be interview, it can be a focus group, it can be observation, it can be psychological test. Anything that helps you to gather your knowledge or to gather your data for your research is your research method. In these things, we sometimes confuse the research design as well. And most of the people think that, quantitative, qualitative, and mixed method, these actually come in design, in your research design. But no, that's little different. Your research design is guided by your methodology. Like, you choose the type of data you want to play with. Oh, in my research, I want to play with numbers, or I want to play with perspectives and beliefs, or maybe I think both would be required. I want to go for numbers and beliefs both. So you go for mixed methods. Once you have your entire strategy, then based on that strategy, you choose, you structure, or you make your design. It's like methodology, for example, is the choice of type of material for your building. Like, I want to build a building with wood, or I want to build it with bricks or with blocks or whatever. And that helps you then to make, okay, now how am I going to line up those blocks and all that? So that is the design. So once you decided what methodology, then you have to know what design, as you have to remember the levels of the paradigm, where the next one is the blueprint, which is the research design. In research design, you have multiple options, and your choice, like when I was doing my research thesis in my bachelor's, it was really confusing for me to decide a research design for myself, and many things were quite overlapping. And I honestly, as a student of bachelor's project, I was also looking at my feasibility, like which thing suits me more, which is convenient. That obviously matters when you're deciding and choosing things. But if you want to go for high quality work, then for that you have to focus on whatever problem you have chosen, and you have to decide not according to your convenience but according to the type of problem. So this actually helps you to choose your research design. And the easiest way is to actually look at your research questions. As we said that before starting anything, any step in the process of your research, you have to first decide your research questions. And once you have your research questions, your research design choice becomes very easy. And I will try to cover that in the same way. For instance, if your question is, does X cause Y? Now you're talking about cause and effect. This caused that, and you're interested in understanding cause and effect formula, or cause and effect relationships of your variables. Then for that, the best suitable design would be experimental design. If your research question is trying to explore cause and effect, your design has to be experimental design, because no other, like, this is a complete important thing to notice, that no other research design covers cause and effect. That means if you're trying to write your research questions and you chose some other design other than experimental, but your research questions, the language is this is causing that is causing that, then your research question is going to be either question that why are you writing this way if you don't want to, or your design or blueprint doesn't indicate that it's trying to explore, or your choice of research design can be cancelled because it does not make sense that you want to go for cause and effect but you're not choosing experimental. So I hope this important point is clear. I am putting a lot of emphasis on it because many students, when they're writing research questions, they try to move around words for creating better synonyms to write their research questions. But this cause and effect synonym is not a synonym. It only comes when you are choosing experimental design. All right. And before choosing a design, you must have research questions, and research questions should be deciding which design you want to choose. And research question obviously will already have, if you want to go for cause and effect or you want to go for relationship, then you're going to decide according to that. So this is the first design that is based on this word in your research question. The second one is correlational, which is most commonly choice of almost all the students who are doing smaller projects. And correlational designs are basically trying to explore relationships of variable. So correlational design explores relationships, like, is anxiety related to academic performance, or is social media use related to self-esteem or not? You're not changing anything. You're just observing if this is related to that or that is related to this or not. So you're only measuring relationships in your correlational design. Keep that in mind. If you're choosing correlational design, you can't explore that one causes the other. Comparative design. Comparative design comes when you want to compare different groups, male versus female in your data. Like some students are covering, they have research questions, or I would say they have hypotheses and such questions for comparing groups, but they still choose correlational because most of their objectives are to explore the relationships. And even when they are trying to compare genders, they are also between the variables of relationship. So they are not choosing comparative design. Comparative design is chosen when you're actually completely covering, for instance, do males and females differ in emotional intelligence? If your whole focus is the difference between two groups, then you're going to go for comparative designs. Fourth one is descriptive design. So descriptive design answers the question what. It's the description to the answer of question what. For instance, what is the prevalence of anxiety among university students? Or what are the levels of job satisfaction among nurses? So there is no relationship, there is no cause and effect. It's only to talk about what exists. So what level of job exists or what level of anxiety exists, just that. No relationship, no cause and effect, and no comparison. Fifth is phenomenological. Phenomena's experiences. So keep that in mind. Phenomenological is about exploring experiences. When your research question is trying to explore experiences, for example, you want to explore experience of mothers who had miscarriage. So you have to choose, because you want to dig deep, go into the experiences, then you have to choose phenomenological research for that. Experience of mothers, experience of cancer survivors, experience of online learning among teachers, and all that. So they are trying to understand lived experiences. Then next one is grounded theory. All right, so you want to develop a new theory, and if your aim is to develop a new theory for a specific phenomena, then you go for grounded theory. And it's like how students adapt to university life, or how do caregivers cope with, it can be any topic, but your goal is to develop new theory. Next is your case study. Most of you would be definitely already be familiar with this one. So case study is when you want to go deeper into a case and you just want to choose one case to have a more in-depth kind of exploration. That case, again, this case study is usually confused, and it's thought that it's just one person. But no, it can be one person, one institute, one group, and it's more in-depth or in depth kind of exploration about that group. All right, the next one is ethnography. Ethnography is the study of a specific cultural group. Now, it's not a case study because this is focused on cultural group, not a random group, but a cultural group. That's why it comes under ethnography. Okay, so far we covered about research methodology, the difference between methodology and methods and design. We covered the paradigm, the research paradigm. And here I want to pinpoint one thing in the conclusion that can help you to structure the steps for your research. So the first thing that you should be doing is to identify your research problem. The second thing that you must be doing is to identify your research questions. Problem is the area you want to explore. Research questions are the things, the specific things of that area that you want to work on. Then paradigm, you believe that will shape the whole research process for you after this. Then your methodology that we already covered, and I hope after this video you're clear what research methodology is. Then your research design, which is your blueprint for your research. Then your research methods, that are your tools. This is your strategy. This is your blueprint and your tools. And then after that, it will be your analysis. Once you have got data, obviously you will collect data collection, and once you have data, you will do your analysis and then your findings. So this is the process or the steps that you follow throughout the process of your research. All right, so one pro tip for those who are watching this video till the end is that whenever you're doing your work, sometimes you're interested in research and sometimes not. And that's okay, because some are not academic type of people, they're more practical, while some want to contribute academically. So those who like research, or even those who don't, their aim is to clear or effectively finish their research project. Both have at least the same aim, is to effectively finish the research project. And for that, you definitely need to make your document foolproof, that it's not having red flags, and when you're presenting it in your final viva or whatever, you are able to justify whatever you have done. So to justify it, I have already given all the steps that you need to follow. You have to go each step and try to base your choices on a logical, authentic, rational, instead of I wanted it. It's like, even if you're choosing correlational based on your own personal choice, make sure that you try to adjust or reshape your ideas according to a correlational research. Make sure that they are in tuned with each other and they are not contradicting each other. As during the video, I shared the example where people choose correlational research, but their research questions are about cause and effect, about increase and decrease, which does not match with the type of design they're choosing for their research. So this is important, that whenever you're making choices, those choices should be logical, sensible, and responsible, to make sure that in the end, when you finish your work, you're able to answer whatever is being asked or whatever is being questioned or challenged about your work. So good luck and stay tuned. Like, subscribe, and share, and keep supporting.